What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to an Angels of Delusion EP. This came out of nowhere. It feels like it's a bit too early for the usual promotional material for the upcoming characters. I know that the Angels of Delusion are the next faction that we're supposed to be getting, but the fact that this is them as a group, an EP for them rather than for a specific character, is very intriguing to me. Anyways, the song itself seems to be called ReDreaming Angel. I feel like I can have a guess at what kind of sound it's gonna be, what kind of genre, that kind of thing. They are idols after all, but we won't know until we hear it, so I'm just gonna get straight to it. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and consider becoming a channel member if you want to support me just that little bit extra. And let's get into this. What do we have here? Okay, sort of retro style so far. I'm loving the animation style already. Okay. The animation is already great. Anyways, based on the name alone, I imagine this is their Delusions of Grandeur. This is a vibe already. God. Okay. The build leading to presumably the chorus. Let's see. Okay. I like the vibe. It's sort of chill, actually. It's got energy, but I love the, cutting between all the different locations. Yeah, this is real fun. I love that we're consistently in this sort of retro 4:3 ratio vibe. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Hell yeah. Ooh, okay. The breaking of the illusion. Interesting. Ooh, that was interesting. Now we see a little bit more of what they're actually like. They're all so fucking cute looking. Oh, the Yuri is real, it would seem. Huh. Ooh, and this entire song goes away. Oh, a storm or something?
Finally, we made it!
Ooh. Ooh, is that an Astro Yao thing? Okay, now back to the song. Interesting little, reprise or whatever. Back to the chorus, hell yeah. Yeah, this is fucking cute as hell. Oh, but it's a fucking storm that's destroying the entire place. Oh, no. Oh, but they keep going. Oh, and the storm blows away the aspect ratio. That's great. This is fun. Ooh, and the wings. Okay. I've basically not been paying attention to the lyrics. Nice. Giving a bow in the wreckage of their stage. This song is really fucking interesting. Wow. That's fun.
I finally got all the moves right! Can't believe this camera survived for this long. Huh? Didn't you say last time it was cheap secondhand? Maybe. Its durability is the reason it survived long enough to become secondhand.
Fair.
That makes sense.
The vibes in this song are immaculate, honestly. It's got this just upbeat vibe, but it's also a little chill, it doesn't go crazy with the energy, and we mostly stay in this sort of feel-good vibe with them performing, dancing, singing. Very rarely do we break out of the sense that this is just sort of a fun thing going on, a fun performance. That does happen from time to time, really mainly in this portion near the sort of middle. And I find it very intriguing. It makes me think that perhaps Arya, I think it is? I haven't perfectly got their names yet, but I think it's Arya is the one with pink hair that's actually a robot, that kind of thing. It seems like she may be sort of the focal point of the group, character and story-wise. That's what I get from this. Though as far as I know, they're all gonna be S rank. This definitely plants a lot of the sort of themes and ideas behind the little we know about the Angels of Delusion behind her. In particular, this visual of her in her more human-looking appearance on a soundstage with just the white silhouettes of the other members as she glitches a little bit before suddenly they're all falling into nothing, and Arya reaches out to try to grab one of them, only for them to burst into these sort of weird arbitrary shapes and colors. And as it happens, Arya glitches between her human self and robot self. The illusion is breaking down, the delusion is failing. She can only delude herself so much, perhaps. Very much to me, Arya feels like, based on just the little bit we have of her, this character who is perhaps a machine, an intelligent construct, who has these hopes and dreams of being this star, being this singer, this idol, this performer, this person who is a celebrity of sorts, and they're working towards it, but they lack the confidence or don't believe that they as themselves will be able to achieve it, and hence perhaps where the delusional side of the Angels of Delusion comes in, where she perhaps is able to like trick herself into having the confidence to do things, or into believing that she can achieve this goal in the first place, or I don't know, something like that. But the fact that we have these multiple points of imagery of this glitching breaking of reality where only Arya is the person who seems to be entirely there does lead me to the possibility that, though I don't necessarily think this is going to be the case, the possibility that what if the other two members of the Angels of Delusions either aren't real or are somehow people invented by Arya, or people caught up in some delusion, illusion. I don't want to say that too strongly though, because it ultimately, if not done well, could take away from the other two members as characters, but I feel like there could be some interesting stuff there based on what we've seen. Either way, there's definitely some element here that they're getting at of reality breaking down, or as I've been sort of trying to guess at here, given that they are the Angels of Delusion, reality showing its face through the delusion. But I'm not quite sure what that delusion is yet. But also, given that that entire sequence with Arya glitching out and the other members disappearing is immediately followed by Arya waking up in her robot form, which seems to be her sort of default state. Her human form seems to be more so her appearance when performing. It is possible that the other members are real. All of this is real. They are performing. They are this group that is building an audience, that kind of thing. But Arya is that super unconfident, anxious, potentially even depressed person who constantly has this anxiety of everything's going to crash and burn, everything's going to fail, my friends and fellow idols will disappear suddenly. If their fans don't know that she's an intelligent construct, perhaps it's the fear that her mask will be torn off eventually and then she will be rejected because of it. I feel like that is much more likely the direction that'll take, at least with Arya, but it's interesting to speculate on nonetheless. Anyways, with that said, that being just my immediate first thing I thought about, I want to jump back to the beginning to just go through this a little bit more chronologically, look at the lyrics a little bit, because I didn't pay too much attention to those during the actual reaction. This opening shot and the general vibe of this initial performance they put on definitely gives me the idea of this being not real, this being obviously a performance they're putting on, but either a falsehood of just what they hope to achieve someday, of like the level of popularity they would love to reach one day, or it just being essentially like a music video that they're setting up. And this idea is very much backed up with this opening shot of essentially a fake news headline. Cuteness saves the world. The super popular idol group Angels of Delusion's interplanetary concert tour is now in full swing. Obviously something that isn't real. And the fact that this is sort of this delusion of grandeur, almost is the way to put it, is further emphasized with them all stepping out of the car, having their shot, while the paparazzi is just all around them. They're all in this position of as if they're the biggest celebrities in town. But at the same time, we're seeing in the lyrics a little bit more of the reality. It brings up the idea of dancing all day and night, no matter how clumsy the movements. And though these days are draining, the uproar within my heart, follow my voice and heal up. It sort of gives the image of someone or a group of people who are really working hard to achieve something, even though they're not great at it yet, even though it's draining. There is this uproar in their heart that makes them want to keep going. We then visually get this very sort of goofy moment of the 3 Angels of Delusion members looming over a guy in a Zenless Zone Zero jacket, angrily like showing him this image of something delayed several times, which I don't know for certain, but maybe that's actually a bit of a meta joke, pointing to the possibility that maybe the Angels of Delusion have been intended to come out for a long time, but have just kept getting delayed for one reason or another. I feel like that's entirely a possibility given how early into the game we first heard about them, but it is very goofy nonetheless. From here though, we just have a mix of very sort of cute, vibey moments with them. And before we get out of this part, one thing I feel like could sort of be the case with the usage here of the more 4:3 ratio and the sort of more VHS-esque visual quality at times, perhaps it ties into the sort of delusion of grandeur that I was talking about before, of tapping more into that idea of nostalgia and seeking nostalgia, where perhaps one or multiple of the members have this image in their head of what stardom looks like and desperately wants to reach those same heights, become this big celebrity, this idol, that kind of thing. But this view is based on like old recordings of celebrities or something like that. And so the image almost takes on this feeling of chasing nostalgia, as I was saying. It has this filter to it of chasing after this thing that may not quite exist in the same way that it once did. I don't know, something about that speaks to me, but I'm not 100% on it. In all of this, alongside all the cuteness, the lyrics are getting more into the cutesy side of things, talking about how they're going to make their future bright, though I do think there is something to the phrasing of this line. Not being arguably the more common version of it, of just saying, our future is bright, but that we're going to make it bright, almost implies that it isn't yet. Like they haven't truly made it, they haven't reached stardom yet, but they are going to make it. They believe they will, which I feel is perhaps a bit more truthful to the reality of the Angels of Delusion. As far as we know so far in the story, they are a bit more of an underground group. They want to seek that stardom, they want to seek that popularity, but they're not there yet. From there, though, we move into their grand performance on this big stage. On all sides, they're surrounded by fans, shown by just the little lights as we enter into what serves as the chorus. We're still in that dream, that illusion, that delusion, whatever you want to call it. As they sing, chase your dreams and don't let go. And if this is their dream, they are going to chase it. And a few lines later saying this passion burns true and eternal. There really seems to be this love of everything it means to be an idol and seek to become one in at least Arya, but all of the members. This drive that pushes them, this passion, something that is propelling them towards this dream, no matter how clumsy their movements are, no matter how unpopular they are at this current moment. They wish, they dream, they follow the passion that leads them to reaching this point. And even beyond that, flying up on new wings. They go beyond this stage, rising into the sky. It speaks to me that their passion is boundless. They wish to go as high as they can, reach the stars if possible. They are dreamers. But then, of course, we get back to the portion I talked about initially, with all the glitching and everyone disappearing and falling into nothingness, and this sort of illusion of Arya's appearance falling away. All of what I said, I think, still stands. But then, after that, as Arya wakes up, we come to a much more grounded and real version of the way they're acting, the things they're doing. They're all sleeping on the train. They're setting up cameras on their own to take shots. The pictures don't come out well. And already at this point, we're already getting hints towards how their show is gonna go, with the one like sort of news sign in the background here on the train, warning of an incoming typhoon. But to look at the lyrics here for a moment a little bit more critically, seeking a smile in the mirror, a discordant and jarring impulse rings across every corner of the world. There's something to this, to those lines. I don't know necessarily if each one's supposed to be inherently strongly connected, but there is something to associating looking for a smile in the mirror with a discordant and jarring impulse. It speaks to me almost as this idea of you're seeking that smile in the mirror, but you don't find it. You want to be happy or act happy or look happy, but are inevitably faced by the fact that you are not, or that the smile you're seeing doesn't feel right. I don't know, something like that is sort of what this calls out to me as. But regardless, we see them mark a date on their calendar for a music video shoot, and we see that they're setting up themselves in this broken down warehouse, it seems like. A far cry from the studio set we saw in the Delusional Dream at the beginning, but is contrasted with the current line, the single track of your dreams within arm's reach. The single track of your dreams. It's that one track mind. There's nothing in you other than the wish to reach towards that dream, to grab hold of it, and it's in arm's reach, you just gotta grab it. And they're blindly pushing towards that, no matter how scrappy they gotta be. But in this, we get more goofy moments, people falling over, this very sort of goofy romance moment type thing of one of them falls, the other catches them, they end up in a dip. Even the art style changes for a moment to this more flowery, romantic feeling thing with the two of them looking into their eyes, all while Arya is just in the background, cartoonishly looking and blushing. It's real goofy, it's real fun. I'm very curious to see if this is just a sort of one-off gag, or if this kind of thing really is going to sort of be the vibe of the group. These gags constantly happening, maybe even a little bit of that internal group romance maybe, but then it all just pulls away, cuts back as we return to the train. The song itself stops. As we further return to reality, the typhoon has hit. They haven't quite processed that yet, but the train is stopping. We just are hearing the sounds of the ambiance, the rain, their running steps, the train coming to a stop, a line or two from each of them. It effectively presents us the mundane reality. It's not a harsh reality, but the mundane reality of what following this passion, this dream they have looks like. It's not all goofy gags. It's not all stardom. It's sleeping on the train to go to your next show that's way out of the way, and a typhoon happens to hit at the time of your show. But they manage to make it to their show as the music comes back in, building to the chorus once more. Though they have made it, they are drenched. Things are already imperfect. They're much more messy, much more realistic. As the song itself, before they step out onto the stage, acknowledges that they are roaming through a world of delusion. There is something delusional about what they're doing. To so blindly follow this one goal, this one wish, this one dream, despite all of the setbacks, all of the messiness, all the effort it takes with realistically very little payoff until it eventually explodes into stardom or something like that. Perhaps the delusion of the Angels of Delusion is the delusion to believe that you can achieve that dream, to achieve this unrealistic goal. But here it's not presented in a negative way. It's not presented like they're being foolish and that they should just give up. It's almost acknowledging, yeah, we're being delusional, we're being ridiculous. who would be able to achieve this? This is a 1 in a million thing, 1 in a billion, but we're gonna put in the time and the effort to try. Even if it's delusional to think that we'll be the ones to do it, to reach that point of stardom, to become the idols we wish to be, the only way we'll know that it didn't work is if we try. So let's be delusional for a while, until reality literally forces us to do something else, to give up on our dreams. We will follow them until the moment that delusion snaps. And, I mean, to be real for a second, as someone with a small YouTube channel like this, I can respect it. There's something to that here as well. But with that in mind, they still step out onto the stage, they do their choreography, they fuck up a little bit. The typhoon finally hits, tearing the roof off of the warehouse, but they don't stop. It's messy, it's imperfect. In many ways, it's a big ol' failure of an event, but they're not going to give up because of that. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 setbacks won't stop them. It's here that we can see that they aren't even performing to a real crowd. All of these glow sticks in the air are just being held up by mannequins or some shit. They didn't have an adoring crowd in this warehouse. They're just performing to the recording. Something that the fans they do have will see eventually if they manage to have the recording survive the typhoon. But it's just going to show that they are by no means to that point of stardom that they're dreaming of, that they're trying to reach, but they are striving for it all the same. And of course, that doesn't mean there isn't any uncertainty. We have this moment of pause in their choreography where they look to each other uncertainly, but then striking a pose, light shining behind them, they refuse to give up and they just keep going. And with that, we see honestly the most creative moment in the entire EP, where the typhoon trying to stop them practically, tearing everything away, the stage, the fake audience, the lights, everything, it finally pulls away this border around them. These black bars that were forming this more retro style, nostalgic feeling, ratio, and aesthetic, peeling back the curtain all the way back to reality, but even then, they still are going. The passion is burning true and eternal. Just because they might get injured or the entire shoot is going horribly wrong doesn't mean they're stopping. They're far too passionate for that. They're too much of a dreamer, they're too delusional. And so, having completed their performance, regardless of everything, the typhoon having passed by, they're left surrounded by the wreckage of their entire stage that they set up. In a way, the destruction of everything they've been trying to build. But now they are surrounded by this open field with a rainbow behind them, and the recording has survived. Their effort has not been for naught. This performance, in fact, at this point made more dramatic and interesting by all the crises that have hit them, all the complications that have tried to stop them. They've pushed through these barriers, they've pushed through these obstacles, and they've completed their dance, their performance, their song, and now take a bow. They may not be to their final goal, they're still dreaming, they're still wanting to go higher, but they've made it through this obstacle, through this arduous task. Their passion intact, their dream intact, their delusion intact. And now with this, if it does well, perhaps not so much of a delusion. I suppose that is a bit hopeful, but I feel like that is the right attitude to take at the end here. Something about their passion and enthusiasm is infectious, and I don't know. As I was saying before, it does resonate with me in a way I didn't quite expect. It's not like it's a super original idea. There are plenty of things that have played with this concept of going against the impossible odds to achieve a dream. That is such a classic idea and narrative. But I mean, they did it well here. It's nice. And though they, after this, have a couple lines of just sort of that moment of relief, that dropping of tension, realizing they did it, they got their choreography down, the recording survived, despite it being a secondhand camera, it proved durable, just the release of tension, the relief that they've done it, they've gone another step down the road towards their dream. And it's nice. I like it. And it makes me excited to see more of the Angels of Delusion. I need to learn their names still, other than Arya, who I might be getting wrong, who knows. But I think that's sort of where I want to leave it, on that happy note, on that hopeful note. With all that in mind, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and very special thanks to all of my channel members, including Amorphosilica, Decisize, Pokelove 101, and Unusual Echo at the normal tier, and Kano Nano at the cool person tier. Really appreciate your support, as always, in this sort of somewhat delusional journey upward. We're almost to 1,000, so, you know, milestone of my own I'm approaching, I suppose. I hope all of you have a great day. Bye-bye.